think more than anything, for me, I need the routine. Like, I don't necessarily have a picture of, oh, I'm going to weigh this amount, or, oh, I'm going to be that. I just need the routine, because once I have a routine, I can keep it up.
So really excited to be chatting with you today, Molly Woofter. So we talked a few months ago before your first 6-week health sprint, before you did H40. I want to sort of dig right in and go back to your expectations, even go back. You remember the conversation we had a few months ago?
Of course, yeah.
What was your mental state? Like, were you excited? Were you nervous? Were you unsure of what the next 40 days, 6 weeks was going to happen?
Absolutely.
Like, how
all
are you?
Of the above.
Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely was nervous because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting interviewed. So, as a way of doing it, it was kind of like the push.
It was a commitment.
Yes. And so I was absolutely nervous about adding one more thing, and everyone's like, oh, it's just so easy. When you try to do other stuff, just add, and then add this and then add that. But the way your program worked was you had a whole week to get used to adding one more thing.
Yeah.
And when you did it, you're like, oh, okay, you know what? That wasn't that bad. I can do the next step. It wasn't like, the 6 things, you could have tried to throw it all at us at one time, but instead it was, you kind of got to figure it out slowly. And it makes it easier to put it as part of your life as opposed to make it be, well, I just have to do this for 6 weeks. Or,
It's hard enough to build a new habit. And I think the way that we built Freedomology, it was created around our natural instincts, like what we will and won't do. And so that's why we spread the 6 key concepts or principles throughout the 6 weeks. So it's like morning routine. It'd be easier for me to give you my morning routine, to give you my dietary approach, to give you, my thoughts on movement, strength training. But I think, just like you said, giving that all to you at one time would not allow you to really absorb that into your rhythm of living. And I think that's been the key. That's why so many people are having success with H40 who've tried other programs in the past. Now, you have your committed shirt on, which I love for sure. You got that at the end of the sprint, which is incredible. You gave us a really good written testimonial, which sort of supported not only the way we taught these principles, but also sort of these concepts from like a biological perspective. Why don't you give everybody an idea of your background, your husband's background? Did he get involved in the first sprint? Is he like, how has your relationship with him changed or evolved? Because a lot of times people who are married, if they do something like this by themselves, it's like, hey, is this going to change the way that our marriage works? Because am I going to be eating something different than my husband? I mean, how did you approach that whole thing?
Right. And the kids too. That's the food I was worried about. Like, oh my gosh, what if I get complaints? Because I'm such a people pleaser in the first place, right? But no, it worked because Ricky has his PhD in biochemistry and my master's degree is in biology. And I really was impressed with both of us especially the biohacking one. I made Ricky watch it with me and we were both very impressed about how much research and how much that you had done. Because, if I'm correct, you're in business and finance and stuff like that. It's not like you're like, oh, hey, the methyl group on the, you know what I mean? It's not like that's your common vernacular or anything like that. And so I really liked how much you guys committed and went into it, but it wasn't just like, here's the science. It was also, here's how the science worked for me.
Yeah.
And so in terms of my family, in terms of, us working on it together, we have absolutely been looking more and more into the biohacking. The biohacking is that's a deep rabbit hole that you could, that you can kind of get into.
You could spend as much time as you want.
Right. And so it's been kind of nice following, your footsteps because you're like, I tried this. I didn't like this. I tried, and I really like the measurements, the data driven as opposed to it just being feeling driven, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, if I take 6 supplements, you may or may not take the same 6, right? Your body is different on the inside as it is on the outside. And I think biohacking gives us that opportunity to look at our body from the inside out and not just how we look, but how we feel, how we're waking up in the morning and how we feel in the afternoon, how we're sleeping.
Adam, to me, I need to work on it
Well, good afternoon. Hi, welcome back to another week of H40 and another coaching call. My name's Tony.
And I'm Greg.
And glad to have you with us. This is week 6 of this H40 sprint and the final week, but it's not the end of the lifestyle. It's just the beginning of your new lifestyle. This week we focused on sleep. We kind of have bookended H40. So week 1 was all about the morning routine and getting that right. Week 6 is all about the end of your day and getting your evening routine right. And sleep was something that for a long time I had not prioritized properly. I don't know when you started taking sleep seriously.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I had a conversation with a fellow at the gym, a guy that I respect, sort of a wellness expert, and we were talking about some freedomology concepts, and I specifically mentioned, diet and exercise, and how I've pretty much always been committed to exercise for the past 20 years, right? Throughout high school and college and into my 20s and 30s and 40s. But diet was something I waffled back and forth on. I tried different diets and like they never really worked for me. And I realized through the icky question, right, which is asking ourselves, am I interested in this or am I committed? Or am I even a little bit crazy about this, right? ICCY. And so I realized that I was only interested in my diet, right? I thought I was committed to health, but you can't really be committed to health and only interested in diet. You unfortunately can't eat whatever you want, especially if you have bad eating habits. If you're eating too much processed food, too much junk food, too much fast food. So we were talking about what the percentage was, right, as far as health with diet and exercise.
Like what has the biggest impact?
Yeah, and I was like, hey, is it 75% diet, 80% diet, 20% exercise? And he's like, nope. And we were on the treadmill, and he gives me a big nope. And he's like, it's at least 50% sleep. And so,
I mean, that's huge.
So, yeah, I mean, that was an eye opener, and it caused me to do a double take real quick. But if you think about what we can withstand more of, or the lack of, can we go without eating for 2 days, 3 days? Yeah, we can. Yeah, it's tough, it's challenging, but fasting is, it's real. We do it, and it's great for the body, great for autophagy and for killing all the weak cells in the body. But is there any way that you would regularly go without sleep for 2 days,
a sleep fast,
or 4 days, or 5 days? I mean, can you imagine yourself not sleeping? And I think sleep deprivation is one of the the most effective ways to torture.
It's literally torture. Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I think if we look at sleep as like, man, it is really a foundational thing, but it's like breathing. Like we take it for granted. We take sleep for granted. So I think for me in my 40s, I started to wake up throughout the night a little bit.
Did you?
Like one time to go to the bathroom. And I'd even try to not drink a bunch of water before I went to bed, but I realized honestly that I should drink a little bit before I go to bed because we just lose so much water throughout the evening, throughout the our period. But I think sleep is one of these things that it's like a hidden lever. If you're not getting enough of it, then it's going to dramatically affect your physical and mental health.
Yeah.
And if you are getting enough of it, it's really gonna help you do the things that you need to do physically and mentally.
I think for me it was I had viewed sleep as sort of something very passive, and it's understandable why you're laying there. It doesn't seem like much is happening, but there's so much going on under the surface when we sleep. Even reframing tiredness. I think it was the book Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker that did this for me. Really interesting book that you could read about this. That reframed fatigue or tiredness as sleep drive. In the same way that you have a hunger drive and you have a sex drive, you have a sleep drive. Your body needs it and craves it, and to the point where the desire for sleep will eventually overwhelm you and you will fall asleep. Like that drive just gets stronger and stronger. But that to view it as something my body needs, not just something my body, does between days. So like as we're on H40, we're thinking about establishing new health habits, new rhythms of life. I could imagine that looking at changing the way you eat, looking at changing the way you move, your morning routine, those all seem very active. Those are things you can go and do and change. Sleep kind of feels like the thing you do between your healthy habits, right? It's just kind of the thing that breaks up the days. But I would encourage you and challenge you to flip your thinking on that sleep is sort of the first thing that you do. Sleep is the first thing that you do that sets you up for the rest of your day and all of the healthy choices that you're planning on making. So rather than thinking about rest as something that you do after your work, like you work all day and then you rest. I think it's better to rest and work from a place of restedness, that you would wake up in the morning energized, ready to tackle the day because you've had a great night's sleep. Your morning routine's going to get way easier. So don't think of sleep as something passive. It's at least 50% of
the health equation.
Yeah, the health equation.
And all these biological processes happen. Let's talk about that, because our short-term memories are consolidated. All of our experiences throughout the day actually are programmed into our brain while we're sleeping. That's an amazing thought, but it happens.
Yeah, there's memories that move from short term to long term, like they get solidified while we're sleeping. That's why kind of like your dreams at times can seem like they contain fragments of your day or echoes of how your day went, but they're not quite the same. It's like you're catching a glimpse of your brain's almost like file ordering system, where it's taking all of its experiences from the days, all of its memories, processing, categorizing, and storing for the long term. I've definitely felt this when I've been trying to develop a new skill. So I'm a musician, I play some instruments, and I've noticed this when I play piano, for example, that I could be doing some practice throughout my day that's very effortful, very conscious. I have to think very hard about where every finger is going and when. And I have to be very focused while I'm doing that. But then if I sleep and I come back to it the next day, I've had many occasions where it just flows naturally, easily. It's like something happened overnight. My brain processed that work, that conscious effort, and somehow it went down into a subroutine and it became automatic for me. It became muscle memory. And so, yeah, for memory processing, sleep is really important.
So one of the things I do before I go to bed, and I've started to do this recently. So one of these things that I do consistently now is basically think about my biggest problem or an obstacle before I go to bed. In what's happening to me, I seem to get great ideas in the shower in the morning, like after the gym. And I don't know what it is about the shower, but a lot of people have this same effect. It's like a phenomenon. But if I can program actively program my conscious mind with an issue, a problem, an obstacle, then I let my subconscious mind work on that problem for overnight. 6, 7, 8 hours overnight. And then oftentimes in the morning, it'll be like this enlightening moment, like you're talking about physically, tangibly. Mine are more ideas and mentally, but it's an amazing thing, the human brain, for
it's
sure.
Like connections got made overnight.
Yeah, there's no question. Neural pathways were connected. Yep.
The next big thing that happens when we're sleeping is tissue repair and muscle building. So if you have an injury of some kind, which in some ways, I don't know if injury is the right word, but when you are overloading a muscle, you are breaking down the muscle fibers to the point that the body treats it sort of like an injury that needs to be healed. That's why your muscles might hurt the next day after a big workout. But either way, when we sleep, the HGH, the human growth hormone, gets released into our system and our body goes to work repairing any of the damaged tissue from throughout the day. And so we mentioned this, I think, during our call on movement. But if your goal is to do strength training and gain muscle, which we think that probably should be one of your goals if you want to age gracefully, you need to be building muscle. Rest is a huge part of that equation. If you are only ever working out, but you're not sleeping well, your body just is not getting the chance to repair the damage that it's experienced and to grow those tissues. So you want to rest at least as hard as you train, I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. So what does rest stand for again? So what's our acronym?
So our acronym, R stands for regularity. E stands for eliminate. There's some things you could get rid of that would help your sleep. S stands for supplement, some aids that might help you. And T is turn down and turn up. So let's walk through each of these one by one, because this is sort of our strategy for improving the quality of your sleep and establishing an evening routine that you might not have yet. These are the things we think are important for that. First is regularity. And your body just craves regularity. Your body runs on rhythms. Frankly, the whole universe runs on rhythms. There's night, There's day, we breathe in, we breathe out, we wake up, we fall asleep. And our bodies have something called a circadian rhythm, which are its natural energy cycles, when we're most alert, when we're feeling fatigued. And what you'll find is that our body is very, very receptive and responsive to predictability, to regularity. You've probably felt this if you've been consistently doing your morning routine for these last 40 days. I would expect that your mornings have started to feel more natural, more easy, more normal. Maybe when you first started, the alarm would go off and it would feel jolting and you'd have some of that sleep inertia where you're feeling foggy. Maybe it was tricky to get out of bed, but I'd bet that if you stuck with it for a few weeks, you had at least some experience of maybe waking up before your alarm or right before your alarm or without even needing it. That's your body getting used to the rhythm that you've programmed into it, that it just knows what its wake time is. And the same thing is true with sleep. You might have totally different bedtimes every night of the week. You're just going to have poorer quality sleep if that's the case. If you don't have a consistent time that you're headed to bed, like, do you have a bedtime?
So absolutely. I think, Tony, this is probably the easiest, most effective, fastest, best way to hack your sleep is set an evening alarm if you have to. You know, we talk about setting an alarm in the morning, like when we should wake up. The more effective alarm to set is to set the alarm to go to bed.
Yeah.
And I think if we just think about our weeks, if we think about our future, like we're sitting here on a Friday, you know, and maybe the weekends we have a little bit more irregular sleep schedule because it's the weekends. If we go out to dinner, we're hanging out with friends. But during the week, let's look at Monday through Friday or Sunday through Thursday evening.
Yep.
You should very easily be able to know when you have to get up in the morning, around what time, because you have a job to do. You have something to do in the morning. And if you want to work out or exercise before that, you know, okay, if I get to be at work around 8 or 9, then I have to get to the gym 6:30 or 7. Like you should be able to back into sort of reverse engineer when you need to get up.
Yep.
And we're recommending 7 hours of sleep. There are people who can function effectively on as little as 5 or 6. And there are people that need 8, but I don't think anything really between 7 and 8 is probably the ideal timeline for most Americans, for most people. But I'm telling you, the easiest way, if you're not sleeping well, the easiest way to sleep better would simply be to Sunday through Thursday, set that time where you're going to bed. You're going to force yourself to go to bed. Quit going to bed when you're tired, because what happens if you wait to go to bed when you're tired, then your circadian rhythm is off and it's like fluctuating. And you might be tired at 9, you might be tired at 11, you might be like, but you might have more energy. Pick a consistent time in the evening to just sort of start getting ready for bed. We're going to talk about some of these, ideas, but I think that's the number one hack. Out of all of our students, we have over 5,000 people in this program now. That's the number one thing that they're saying is making the biggest impact in their sleep is just consistent bedtime.
The regularity. Yeah.
That's huge.
And this would be true too if you're, you mentioned between 7 and 8 hours. I've seen some studies that show between 7 and 8 is about the same for you. So like you might have heard, I need to get 8 hours. If you wake up after 7 hours and you feel awake and you're ready to get up, like get up. Don't be like, I need to get one more hour. Like you might actually feel worse after that hour. So you don't need to be dogmatic about it. Like listen to your body. Somewhere between 7 and 8 hours is a good place to shoot for. And if you are going to sleep in on, say, the weekends, where maybe you don't have to get up quite so early, just like cap that sleep in to an hour or so. You don't want to like sleep in till noon or something and completely throw your circadian rhythm off. You've been working on this morning routine, so sleep in a bit, but not a ton. E stands for eliminate. So this one was fascinating to me, but it turns out that blue light, which is the kind of light that comes from most of our screens, most of our devices,
TVs,
this laptop, TV, whatever screen you're watching this on, is probably emitting blue light. And it turns out that exposure to blue light in the hours leading up to bed can drastically impact the quality of our deep sleep. There's these different phases that we go through with sleep, of REM and deep sleep, and at the deepest sleep is the most restorative form of sleep, and that's what gets disrupted when we have this exposure to blue light too close to bed. So there are a couple of things you can do. The best would probably be like turn your phone off and leave it in a different room.
We tried that one
an hour before bed.
Right.
An hour before bed. I don't know who's out there doing that.
We actually had people commit to not using their phone an hour before bed, right? Because that's the key window. That's 60 minutes before you actually go to bed. If I'm going to go to bed at 10:30 in the evenings during the week, then from 9 to 9:30 to 10:30, just quit using the phone, right? Or quit watching TV. We actually had people commit to that, and then they broke that commitment to themselves. So we've realized that breaking the addiction to Netflix or breaking the addiction to your cell phone is probably too big of a bridge for most people. So a solution would be to buy some inexpensive blue light reducing glasses on Amazon and wear those an hour before bed, because it's eliminating the blue light, and your brain is not taking in these exposure. So it actually doesn't affect your circadian rhythm. It's not like it's getting rid of the bad stuff.
It filters that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could also, your phone, definitely if you have an iPhone, Androids probably have a similar feature, or there's an app for it, I'm sure. But on iPhone, it's called Night Shift, that shifts all of the colors that your screen displays to the warmer end of the spectrum so that you're not getting that blue light. So I have mine programmed to just turn on at 9 p.m.
Yeah. Have you tried the grayscale?
I haven't done that. No.
So I think it's called grayscale. So I thought I'd love it. I thought I would just turn it on because it would reduce the dopamine.
Yeah, break your addiction.
Even released throughout the day. But it's just it's too hard.
Just as much dopamine?
It's too crazy. No, no, I don't even know what it's doing. Like, I couldn't stand looking at the phone.
Yeah,
it was annoying. And when I had to use it, it's just like, oh my gosh, so it's too dramatic of an effect.
Wow.
I think for me, for sure. Too crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you can eliminate blue light, it'd be great if you could leave your phone outside the bedroom and have an hour before bed where you're not like stimulating not only your eyes with blue light, but your mind. Like, what are you actually reading when you're just sitting there scrolling? Are you shopping? Are you doom scrolling? Is it just random brain rot type stuff like cats playing piano? Make the decision, would I wake up early to scroll this stuff? And if the answer is no, I wouldn't set my alarm early to get up and do this, then don't stay up late doing it. Like, it's not
that 30 minutes is taking time away from your life.
Absolutely. And it's not going to help you. Let's be intentional about how we spend these lives. Okay, so that's R is regularity. E, eliminate. S is supplement. So there are some external sleep aids that you could try that you might find helpful. Some of these would be literal like supplements that you take. My wife is a big fan of magnesium.
Yeah,
when
I am
she
too.
Can't sleep. You too? Yep. She has a cream that she puts, I think, on her feet or legs or something that can help reduce muscle cramps. It can definitely help you sleep. You take it as a pill?
Yeah, we can't produce it. I take it in the evening, and we can't produce it, so we have to, if we're not getting enough of magnesium in food, we have to supplement it.
Yep.
So it really relaxes the muscles, and I've been doing it for a few years. Just one pill, I think 250 milligrams, maybe 500 milligrams. I think 250. I'll look. But it's just a simple way. It's almost part of my evening routine. And again, we started the sprint with a morning routine. Adam is like a transformational way for most people to wake up in the morning. It's a morning routine so easy that you'll actually do it, right? I refer to it as a rhythm, right, in the morning. And I think if you find a rhythm in the evening, like a rhythm with your rest, it's going to make a huge difference. And I think 30-40% of the population really struggles with sleep, if not more. So these ideas, they seem simple, but you stack them on top of one another, and it can really help you get that deep restorative sleep that you need to function your best.
Yeah, you feel like a whole new person. You've used it's not melatonin.
So herbatonin. Yeah, herbatonin. So melatonin works, but I think it also can become addictive, and it can also we can quit producing it because the body wants to produce melatonin. Yeah, and so if we supplement it too much, the body will quit producing it because it knows it's getting it from this outside source. So herbatonin is one that I've tried, and I haven't really noticed a difference compared to magnesium. So I just use magnesium essentially. Yeah. I think that's a good one. And like grounding mats, right? Yeah. So we're talking about like grounding is an entire industry, a burgeoning industry. It's not new. It's actually sort of older, but this concept of grounding yourself to electrons, essentially letting electrons in the body, and we can do that through grounding mats. I haven't found a grounding mat that works for me personally because they're just, I just notice I sleep worse on a grounding mat. But there's some people like Jason.
Was it uncomfortable, or what about it?
It's just it has these little like you plug it in and it's got these little metal coils throughout. I mean, it's thin, but it feels like I'm sleeping on something strange.
You can feel it.
It's just not comfortable. Absolutely, I can feel it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Jason, though, who works with us, bought a house in Florida. He's up in Ohio, and he actually was sleeping on grounding mats for the past 8-9 months. Yeah. Extreme. He's 50 some years old, mid 50s, let's say. A lot of aches and pains and joint issues. And the grounding mats, he swears that the grounding mats within 2 to 3 days dramatically lessened his inflammation in his body. Yep. Again, there's a science around it.
Yeah, I could believe
if you want to
that.
do the research. He quit. He didn't bring his grounding mats to Florida, and he slept at his house, I think the past month and a half, like 40 days. And so without grounding mats. And he said his aches and pains came
Wow.
back. So he was super excited. When he got back in the office this week, he was super excited just to be able to sleep on his grounding mats. And they're not cheap. They're a few $100, but again, this is something that you can experiment with. And if it works, then it could mean all the difference,
Yeah,
right?
it might be worth a shot. That's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, so T is turn down and turn up. So two things. One thing you can turn down, one thing you can turn up. Turn down the temperature. That may help you. If you're gonna err on the side of warmer or cooler, towards cooler. The body just prefers a cooler environment when you're trying to fall asleep. I don't know what you have your room set to. Ours is around 69, I think.
Yeah, 68, I think.
68, somewhere there. But you might want to turn the temperature down a little, and then turn up potentially some background noise, some white noise specifically. So here's where I just want to talk about eliminating distracting sounds and raising the noise floor. So our family, when we started, I mean, we've slept with a fan or an air purifier, some kind of white noise for a long time, but it really increased once we had kids, and now we have a white noise machine in every room. If you walk through our house, it sounds like, I don't know, an industrial,
Is it
I don't know,
like a warehouse
vacuum or something. What's going on? But yeah, each boy has a white noise machine in their room, and we use white noise in our room. And essentially all that's doing, some people might prefer rain sounds or maybe like ambient meditation music. But this would be especially helpful if you're in a house, say, that creaks and cracks a bunch when the temperature changes, or if you're in an apartment and you've got noisy neighbors, or if there's someone in your house that's still awake when you are trying to go to sleep and there's other noises. Our brains essentially, they get used to whatever stimulus they are constantly experiencing. So this is why, for example, if you're wearing glasses, it's called sensory adaptation. If you're wearing glasses, after 5 minutes, you don't feel them. I mean, you feel them when you put them on your head, but after 5 minutes, that's just kind of always there as a background sensation. You don't even notice them. You might have even had the experience of looking for your glasses, wondering where they are while they're on your head the whole time. Yeah. This is because our bodies adapt to anything that's constant, and we drown it out, and our brains are looking for new information, new stimulus. And so when we're sleeping, this is really useful. You can imagine if you were sleeping in the woods, you would want, at some level, your brain to be constantly scanning for threats. And if a twig snaps over there, I want my brain to trigger me to wake up because there could be a bear that's about to eat me, right? So your brain establishes some baseline level of noise that's acceptable and safe. And when some sound comes through that breaches that threshold, it flags you and will wake you up. And this may be happening to you even if you're not consciously springing up in bed. It may be happening on a micro level all through your night, depending on what your sleep environment's like. So that's why you might find setting up a white noise machine, playing some rain sounds, what that's going to do is create some level of noise that at first you'll be like, oh, it's kind of loud in here. But your brain will get used to it because it won't change. It's just static white noise. And eventually you will stop hearing it. Your brain will not flag it. And that will allow other distracting noises to happen without your brain flagging you to wake up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's what you're trying to do there.
No, I think it makes 100% sense. And I think like binaural beats, if you're able to wear headphones when you go to sleep, binaural beats will send a different frequency of sound to each ear, so your brain has to sort of regulate and optimize the sound that's coming in, a little bit differently in the right ear than the left ear, and it's an incredible way to get the brain sort of, defrag the brain and have it just get in that position to be able to get in deep sleep, because it's not just about how long you're sleeping. Yeah. It's also all the stages. In this module, we talk specifically about all the different 4 or 5 key stages of sleep, and REM sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep. Like most people think that's deep sleep. It's really not deep sleep. Yeah. Deep sleep is a different state of sleep, and there's different levels. So I think the key is to have, an hour or two of REM sleep, the perfect sleep schedule. Like I use the Oura Ring. Yeah. Right. So I wear this at night. You could wear some different Fitbit, a Whoop, maybe the Apple Watch, but these things predict based on my heart rate and the variability, like how long I'm sleeping. But more importantly, like my sleep latency, which is how long it took me to get to sleep. And then it sort of predicts, it tells me, hey, you were in REM for, an hour and 6 minutes last night. You were in deep sleep for an hour and a half. And I've noticed the more REM, the more deep sleep that I get, the better sleep I like I wake up in the morning, I actually feel refreshed. And I think that's the key. We're trying to figure out what that amount, like those, right? It's a recipe, and you're trying to figure out the different ingredients in the recipe, and it has everything to do with everything we're talking about here. You know, like rest, this, just doing it regular, right? Eliminate some things, supplement some things, turn down the temperature. One of the benefits of turning down the temperature, one of the benefits of actually living in a cooler environment is that thermogenic effect that your basal metabolic rate will increase, right? If the body has to burn extra calories to maintain its bodily temperature, then a side benefit of that is we'll lose weight, right? And we'll lose fat potentially, right? Right, especially brown fat. So when you're sleeping at 72 degrees because it's warm and comfy, that might feel good, but it's not the optimal environment for sleep. If you can get it, below 70 in the 69, 68, even cooler, then that's an incredible environment to get into deep sleep and have that thermogenic effect for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that covers rest. R, regularity. E, eliminate blue light and all your doom scrolling. S, supplement with sleep aids. And T, turn down the temperature and turn up some white noise or some kind of background noise. So that's rest. I hope that some of these tips are helpful for you if you've been struggling with sleep. I know how frustrating that can be. And this really could change the way you feel about your days if you're getting better rest at night. So let's just hit a couple questions and then we'll wrap this up.
Cool.
This is a great question because I've never had to live this life. But what if I work night shift or I have irregular hours? The irregular hour thing is probably more challenging than night shift in particular. I would say for the night shift thing, you may want to make sure that you have like some solid blackout curtains when you're at home. Because if you're coming home and you're trying to get the bulk of your 7 to 8 hours of sleep in the middle of the day and there's sunlight peeking through your windows, that your body just will respond to that. That's going to impact the quality of your sleep. So if you can simulate night as much as you can throughout the day, I would recommend some big blackout.
I would
curtains.
also say, a more bold answer is work first shift or second shift. Like change jobs.
Change.
If
I was
I
wondering
had a
if you
loved
would say
one
that.
who was consistently working third shift, like night shift, your life expectancy, if you do the research, your life expectancy is less.
Yeah, right.
By working third shift. The amount of depression, anxiety, stress, but even suicide is heightened, is magnified exponentially if you're working night shift. So I would say try to get a different job. If you have to change positions to get a better schedule around your sleep and just living, then that I think is more important.
Yeah, that's a good point. I have a buddy who's been working nights for a long time, and he talks about the loneliness, which is just like he's awake when the rest of the world is asleep, and vice versa. So like human connection, social activity, that just gets really tough. So
and you might even be able to get a doctor if you work at a company where you might be the new man on the totem pole or low man on the totem pole, and you have to earn your stripe, and sort of you have to do that because no one else wants to do it. If you can get a medical reason, talk to your doctor. If you have sleep deprivation in your mood, I mean, it's affecting everything physiologically in your body. It's affecting your physical and mental health. Talk to your doctor, and your doctor will probably agree or make a recommendation that you need to get off of third shift because of this, and this reason, and then you have a real reason to go back to your employer. So if you don't have direct control over changing jobs, or you need the job you're working at, or you're putting in, earning your stripes, then maybe work the system a little bit by talking to your doctor, and that could be effective.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. How can I stop using my phone before bed? Well, we touched on this a little bit earlier with the doom scrolling before bed and how there's a couple of reasons that's not great for your sleep. The blue light, but then also just like the mental stimulation.
Yeah, just dopamine.
The headspace where that's putting you.
You want to relax.
I totally get this. I think we've probably all experienced what it's like to feel unhealthily tethered to a phone. In addition to that question of like, would I wake up early to scroll this or read this? I've started to tell myself, because there can be for me a feeling with especially social media, a feeling of like FOMO, or like there's something I need to find out. What if stuff's happening? There's information I need. They're like, I need the news or whatever. But I'm in bed, man. Like what am I about to discover on my phone that's going to change what I'm doing for the next 8 hours? Like probably nothing, right? So it will be there when I wake up. There's nothing that pressing that I'm going to miss out on by going to sleep that won't be there when I have some time in the morning to catch up. So just like making the decision to set my alarm and put my phone down before I climb into bed and not like reach over to the nightstand and grab it. Like don't even start the scrolling because you'll get sucked into it for 30 minutes or something.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think it's how to stop using the phone before bed or in bed, right? Different experience, you know? Our advice would be probably, because you're probably addicted to your phone, try blue light glasses before bed. Take like when you're in bed, just put your phone in another room. Put it, if you
commit.
Using it for an alarm, move from interest to commitment. I mean, there's actually a ton of new science, and we're doing some of the research on this right now. That is for the first time really connecting phone addiction. Right. We see all the videos online on TikTok or Instagram. The emotional videos of society 20 years ago versus society today, and kids 20 years ago versus kids today, and just how everyone is like this, even at dinner. You just have to make a decision, right? You have to make a decision for your family, and you have to be a leader in your family and be the first one to just take the phone away from bed, and it's on the it's in the kitchen, it's charging up in the kitchen, and you actually have a real alarm clock. And what you're going to realize if you get to sleep consistently. Like I don't need an alarm clock. I mean, essentially, I don't wake up 7 days a week from an alarm clock.
Yeah, that's
like
awesome.
My clock is set to where I programmed it, and I wake up on my own, and it's a cool thing for sure.
That's a better feeling than being jolted awake by a loud alarm.
Yeah, there's no question.
Okay, we had a question about this in school. What should I do if I wake up in the middle of the night and I have trouble going back to sleep? Now, it turns out this person, when they woke up, was grabbing their phone and playing mobile games. Yeah. Which I think they were pretty quick to acknowledge.
Turning your brain back on.
Yeah, that's probably the major thing.
You want your brain to be in that, the physiological state. So
sleep inertia. You want to keep that inertia going in the middle of the night. Yeah, absolutely. I think you need to differentiate. Like, are you getting up to go to the bathroom? Then you should go to the bathroom and then get right back in sleep. So don't turn on lights.
The length of the period of the wake up is going to make a big impact on whether you can get back to sleep quickly or not. Yeah. So if you're up, you go to the bathroom, you get right back in bed. You don't check your phone. Definitely don't check your phone.
Right? Don't even turn on lights.
No. It's boom, boom, and you're back under the covers. Yeah. Okay. That habit will probably get you back to sleep pretty quickly. Yeah. But if you're checking your phone, another reason to keep your phone in another room, so you're not even tempted. But to get the brain, because once you turn the brain back on, how many times have you laid down on the couch to watch a movie, you fell asleep, right, in the evening, and you fell asleep for maybe 20 minutes, and you're super tired. You fell asleep super easy, and then you go to bed, and then you're up for an hour and a half to 2 hours because you're turning literally your brain off and on, off and on, off and on. Yeah. You don't want to do that. You want to keep it off for as long as possible. Yeah. So Tony, we I know we're wrapping up the call, but we've talked a little bit about this. We are officially launching the community. I feel like we're launching Freedomology on October 1st. So the target date will be October 1st. We've been working for 6, 7, 8 months on our mobile app, our technology, our community, and we feel like we've been in beta mode. We've been testing, experimenting with ourselves, with you. We've been running these health sprints, but there's a lot more to Freedomology than just H40, right? Oh, yeah. There's F40. There's financial freedom. I almost feel like it's taken me decades, almost 50 years to figure out how to live at the intersection of health, wealth, and happiness. And we really want to show you how to do that in less than one. So we really want to dig into F40, dig into R40, and do these additional sprints. Instead of doing that through YouTube, through Facebook, through email, through school, we're gonna, just connect everything together in the Freedomology app, in the Freedomology community. Again, launching October 1st. We're super excited about it. You guys are gonna get some information over the next couple of weeks on the launch, but we're gonna give away a whole bunch of free stuff. We're gonna have sort of two versions of of the mobile app. We're going to have the community, which is free, and it's for people interested in better financial freedom, more financial freedom, how to grow a business, how to build an investment portfolio. It's for people interested in better physical and mental health, for people interested in better relationships, including the one with yourself and with God. And then we're going to have a paid version of the community called The Committed. And that's where we're going to go into more detail in coaching you on really how to balance these three huge pillars in life, where if you have true freedom, you have enough money to do what you want to do, when you want to do it, with whoever you want to do it with, and you have the health to be able to do it, and you have just incredible deep relationships. Okay, the whole goal of the community right with The Committed is to live at the intersection of that. And I think that's super exciting.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome for sure. And we plan on doing sprints. We plan on doing another H40 starting October 1st.
Starting in October, yeah. Yep.
Then F40, so to let you in on a little secret, F40 would start November 1st, and then R40 would start December 1st. And then the first of the year, so 1/1/25, we'd roll right back around with H40, with F40, with R40.
But just keep it rolling.
Yeah, exactly. Super excited about this. So what did I miss? Anything with the community? I mean, so let's talk for a minute about what the community is going to do, because it's going to allow people to connect with each other.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm really excited about. I mean, it'll be nice to have everybody in one place, because like you said, we've been kind of spread out with Facebook, school, email, YouTube. This will be one place, a web app or on your phone, a mobile app that you can access it, where anything that we're doing, Freedomology related, so articles, blog posts, courses, videos, all of that will be housed there. Any content, worksheets, workbooks, cookbooks, all kinds of stuff will be housed there. But you'll also be able to connect with other people who are like-minded, or maybe who live near you. The app's going to have some really useful tools for finding people that are kindred spirits. Like it has AI that will compare your profiles and figure out, okay, you guys have similar interests, you guys might be friends. And so I think that's probably what's going to end up being really powerful about this, the connections that you all will get to make with each other. It's more than just Greg and I, giving you lessons or something or videos. This is a dialogue. It's a community. It's a conversation that involves all of us. And so I think that's what I'm most excited for. People are going to come for the content, come for the ideas. Yeah. So we're going to have sprints. We're going to have challenges like the walking project, just how healthy, like the research on walking. Like if you did nothing other than walk 30 minutes a day in an additive fashion. So take what you're doing right now and just set aside 30 minutes a day after lunch, before work, after work. If you did that 7 days a week, right? It's low impact, low stress. Your health would dramatically improve. Yeah. Your metabolic flexibility would improve. Your BMR, like the rate at which you're burning calories, you would lose weight, you would lose fat. And so we want to put these challenges around these types of concepts. Like we've had a lot of people talk to us about like fasting or detox. So we're going to create some 5-day detox challenges. And I think, this community is going to just be a super cool place to get this information. Like I think people are going to come for the content, but they're going to stay for the community. I think so.
As we grow and we had 5,400 people in this last sprint. Yep. And I think there was 180 or almost 200 from Northeast Ohio. Yeah. And we had quite a few people asking, like when we released the Move module and we're talking about how to build muscle, like people want to connect with other people. Yeah. And this is a special tribe that we're building and help leading. But you're absolutely a part of it. You're going to be a huge part of it. So I think to be able to connect with people and look at, hey, okay, we live in Medina, but this person lives in Strongsville, and maybe we could work out together. Maybe we could walk together. Maybe we could mountain bike together. Just the connection that's going to happen, I think, is incredible. So yeah, we're super excited.
It's going to be a big month. Looking forward to it. So this kind of officially ends this H40 sprint. But again, like I said at the top of the call, it's not the end of your H40 lifestyle. That's why we say these sprints have a start date. They don't really have an end date. And if you started late or you felt like you fell behind, don't sweat it, because this is a lifelong, it's really a marathon. Yeah. So I would encourage you, keep on going with the new rhythms and the new habits that you've been able to establish. Keep on getting up and at 'em. Start to implement your evening routine. It's our hope, and I think this is true, that like you feel better, that you not only look better, but that you are feeling the best you felt mentally and physically as you've started to take more agency and ownership over your life. So thank you for being a part of this sprint. Thank you for committing to the process. Thanks for all your thoughts, feedback, and questions, helping us improve it. like Greg said, we're just getting started. Very excited for the future.
Absolutely. My last thought is you guys should be really excited about the pre-launch process, what we're about to launch in the month of September. You know, we're officially launching October 1st, but we've really from September 17th-ish through October 1st, we've got some incredible free stuff, you know, regarding health, regarding finances, regarding relationships and experiences that we're going to deliver to you guys. So we're just super excited. And so with that, we'll let you go and we'll talk soon.